So in pursuing getting some bootable media for my Kaypro II, I am back over on my early DOS machine. This was a 486 class machine. We built this machine in a previous video, full tower case. It's a decent little machine for the era, and I can use it to image 360K floppies. So I got on the web. I found a website where I could download Kaypro floppy images. They are TD0 format. And doing some digging, I discovered that TD0 is managed by Teledisk is the program. It used to be a commercial program for imaging discs. It's now out there for free. I downloaded the version 216, which is the TD216exe file, and the original like 1.05, just so I have the earliest and the latest. I downloaded a number of TD0 files from that website. You can see them here on the screen. These are single-sided double density images for the Kaypro II. I'm using a 1.2 meg 5¼ inch floppy drive. It's configured in the BIOS, of course, to be 1.2 meg 5¼ The system should be smart enough to treat it as a 180K drive in this side, or in this case, a single-sided double density drive. So if we run TD216. We are going to do a copy file to disk to drive B, and I'm just going to walk through each one of these files and just go ahead and image each one. So it knows it's a 40-sided or 40-track disk, which is a single-sided, and I can see the drives being accessed, and it's currently writing the floppy. So where it says here source was 5¼ inch low density MFM. That's what we call double density in the old world. Since the system here is capable of a high density drive, low density MFM, like I said, becomes a double density in the previous world. These disks were formatted ahead of time, single-sided double density on my Kaypro II, or my Kaypro I actually. I don't think that's required. These could just as easily have been formatted on the DOS machine here. We'll actually look at doing that here in a second. When this one gets imaged, we'll back out and actually format a 180K floppy here on the machine, just so you can see how to do that. So as you can see, this isn't brilliantly fast, but I'm hoping it does the job. We'll find out when I get the Kaypro II set back up and see if we can actually boot the machine. So we built this DOS machine here, like I said in previous video, I don't remember which one, to do this kind of work. I've used it to create Model 4 floppies. I've got a Model 4 emulator on here, which works surprisingly well. And we imaged a number of Model 4 disks. So I'm hopeful it'll work for this. So the drive's being accessed. To get the files, so I used my Windows 10 machine to download the TD0 images and the Teledisk executable, so I threw those on a 1.44 meg floppy. They all fit on 1.44 meg floppy. Came over to the DOS machine, threw it in the high density 3.5 inch drive, created a couple folders here on disk, and copied them off. So, getting them from my Windows machine to this machine was relatively simple. So we have actually finished imaging this floppy. I'll go ahead and put a fresh floppy in the floppy drive, and we'll go ahead and format it as a single-sided double density drive. If you run format question mark, you'll get the format command line options here. Notice the /F:/size. You can specify 180K, and that's a single-sided double density drive. So if we do a format drive B /F:180, I'm typing around the camera mount here as always, so it's kind of hard to see. That would go ahead and format 180K, so a single-sided double density disk. And I really think that would be sufficient formatting as well for these to work in the Kaypro once the TD0 images are written to them. formatted that disk. Don't need to format another. Don't remember the exact name. TD216. We're going to copy file to disk to drive B. To drive B, there it is. And I'm going to. So that's a blank disk image, but I'll go ahead and just make one of each. Blank except for D.com. So it's interesting that this gives me some information. 512 byte sectors, 0 to 9. I don't exactly know what that means here, but we'll let it do its thing. I've got some diagnostic software that I found as well that I'm hoping they're in zip files. I don't know if they're actually disk images or independent files. I'll have to look at those. Figure out how to deal with that as well. I'd like to be able to run some diagnostics on the machines. Patience is, of course, a virtue when dealing with older hardware. I've been very happy with the build of this. It's a Windows 98 DOS machine here. It's been a good little machine. The full tower case gives me lots of room for expansion. It's pretty sparse at the moment. There's a 3.5 inch high density drive, a 5 1/4 inch high density drive, 360K 5 1/4 drive, CD-ROM drive, a smallish SATA hard drive. I don't remember what size it is. It isn't really big, but there's lots of room in here where I could add additional hardware if I needed to. Well, the drive is still spinning up there. We'll let this finish up. It did say this should be a bootable disk. I grabbed everything that looked like an operating system, you know, a CPM disk. From the download site, we'll fire up the third copy here because I can get this on camera. Floppy in the drive. Drive B. That's Kaypro II Microsoft Basic. Basic 80 and games for the Kaypro II. I should probably be labeling these disks. Well, I won't bore you with the imaging of the rest of these disks, but I'll be back once we get on the Kaypro and see if these work. Anyhow, I'll keep imaging disks here. Well, we're down to the moment of truth here. We've got the various floppies that we imaged on the DOS machine. The Kaypro II is started up here, and this one is CPM22G with the Kaypro II. Let's see if it'll actually boot it. Well, that's not encouraging. Reach back and hit the reset button. Well, I'd say that disk is a no-go. This is the blank disk with just, I think, the D.com on it. And actually sounds like it's trying to boot, and what do you know? We've actually got the thing to boot from an imaged floppy. And it is the one that just D.com on it. Quite interesting. Well, that's a good sign. It looks like this Kaypro II actually works. That V drive is pretty rough sounding. See what all's on here. I'm not sure why the V drive access light is on. Well, we know that one booted. This is CPM 2.2F. Let's see if it's bootable. And I would say it's not at this point. Move on to image that was labeled Kaypro II old. That doesn't look very promising either. Well, it's interesting. We've seen one disk actually boot. This disk is CPM 2.2 for the 81-149 ROM. I have no idea what ROM this machine has in it. Take that as a no boot. This disk gave me weird write errors. I tried it with several disks. It seemed to be something funny with the image. What I can't tell here is if the machine is hung up. I am hitting reset. I cannot read your disk. Okay. It finally actually timed out. This is Kaypro II M Basic and Games. I don't know if it's supposed to be bootable. Nope. Be curious to see if it's readable. With the one disk we have, we know that boots. And this should be another bootable. This was that blank disk with just D.com. If I can find the boot button. I expected that to boot. So this is the one disk that we saw boot earlier. The question becomes, is it a system issue? Nope. So that looks like the same disk I had for the Kaypro I. You set that aside. And see if we can figure out here how we're going to get the other pieces of a CPM transferred onto the bootable disk and hope that they're good pieces. That's what I expected. This should have been the other bootable. We'll just set that aside. You may have seen the screen there dance around. I'm seeing some indications the power supply here is getting weak. This looks like it has dump, load, stats, copy, pip. Let's see if any of these will run. How about the line editor utility? Every time the motor starts, you see the screen flicker. This system's definitely got power supply issues. Wouldn't be surprised to see it fail. Well, I'm going to a : equals pip.com. Move a few files onto that bootable disk to see if we can get somewhat of an operating system together. That's looking like that copy utility may not like the version of CP/M. Oh. So this is an earlier version of the D utility. Copy disk, blank disk. Oh, that's good to see. So that'll be useful. Copy over the simple editor. I don't think I need anything else off here at the moment. Init disk might be a disk formatter. Universal disk initializer. What you like? Table currently supported. It's a universal disk initializer. Don't really know what this does. I'm gonna have to play with it. Oops. Yes. A : equals initdisk.com. For now, I don't need dump or debugger. So asm.com is an assembler. DDT is the debugger. Sysgen is for creating modified Unix builds, or not Unix, I mean CP/M. Assuming term is a terminal. For now, I will set that disk aside. We'll look through a few other disks to see if there's anything worth stealing. This looks like more of the same basic stuff. That's got basic on it. Well, this machine definitely needs A colon equals, there's an S basic on here. Move that to the A drive. And there's a basic program sitting there, a couple of them. We'll find out what they do. And then we'll see if we can make a bootable copy of the disk we're preparing here. Drive just doesn't sound good. This machine really needs to be serviced. That's pretty obvious. And that's going to say, no B drive, no disk mounted. Web CCP, that's interesting. It's an overlay. Flash.com, that's interesting. Must be sending a message over maybe some kind of network. There's a mail program on here. Don't know a whole lot about what I'm seeing here. Nothing super interesting on there. I need to copy off. Another one of the disks that failed to boot the machine, and I'm sure it's because how CPM was built is incompatible with the BIOS ROM, most likely. So it's got something called MS-DOS on it. And again, these other programs may or may not work. Nope. Trying to reach around and boot the machine again. Well, that got us a few things to play with. Let's go ahead now and see if we can back up the A drive to the B drive. That copy is the utility. Oh, excuse me. Copy diskette to a diskette B. blank. I'm curious about other. So here's where you can format disks, copy and verify. Use so format B, copy, verify, and sysgen. Blank image, format B, image, and verify. Let's go ahead and image B. So it looks like it is formatting and then copying one track at a time from A to B. Hopefully this will give me a good copy. So I've at least got 2 bootable disks here. So this wasn't a total waste. We've at least got to the point where the machine is bootable. I'm guessing that power supply could probably be recapped. You know, I'm seeing noise on the screen as the disk heads load and unload. It definitely reacts to the motor starting and stopping. The monitors typically use 12 volts to operate, so I'm sure it's sharing the same 12 volt rail the floppy drive motors are on. So, you know, this machine needs some work. It's been dropped. You can't see it here, but the right hand side of the case by the floppies has been bent in a bit. Needs some work to straighten that out. And all indications are these are full height single-sided floppy drives. Of course, with 2 full height openings here, you could actually get 4 floppies in there. You know, half height floppies are even 2 half height in a hard drive. Assuming I could get a hard drive controller. So it's getting errors on the outer tracks. Or on the inner tracks, I should say, the higher tracks. Now I'm going to have to kind of let this continue. Whether this is real or the hardware starting to fail. Sorry this has taken so long. Well, I guess the bit of good news here is Teledisk can be used to image floppies for the Kaypro II. It is a matter of finding a CPM image that's compatible with whatever variant of the Kaypro II you have. Little bits and pieces I'm finding on the web. There's different ROMs in them, etc. It's almost like they didn't maintain the address space for the ROMs, you know, the entry points consistently, which made them incompatible with each other. So let's take the disk we just imaged and see if it'll actually boot it. Hopefully it will. That'll at least give me 2 bootable disks. Okay, that's a nice sign. And we'll see what's actually on here. So Didn't copy too much over to it, did I? Wow, that does not look... Is that really all I had copied to it? I thought I'd copied more files across. Apparently not. Well, let's see what SBasic. We have 3 basic programs: FAC, XAM, and dplay. Oh, it wants to compile this. That's basic, so it's a basic compiler, is it? I don't know what the runtime then is, whether it creates a standalone COM file, perhaps. I'm not sure why it's looking on disk B. Imagine at this point it's hung up. Nope. VDOS error on S:, so obviously not something usable. Oh, is it really hung the machine up? There we go. Get rid of those 3 basic programs. We did have on this disk Microsoft MBasic and OBasic. I don't really need the games copied. Really? A colon equals. Does it want me to? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, it needed the drive levers that are specified. Now this is quite interesting. I found a number of images, disk images for my Kaypro I that I'll use the same process to produce floppies for it. The files I mentioned earlier in the video, the diagnostic files is a standalone set of files. It's not a floppy image, and I'm not really sure how at this point to take those floppies or those files and transfer them onto a Osborne formatted floppy. Along the basic programs. There's a DAP file I want to grab. Assuming it'll fit. Oh, that's actually a game, ladder.com. So maybe not. I know this is really exciting. Yeah, this poor machine, when it was dropped, you can't see it here. And bring this over. You can see the curve in the sheet metal here where this has been dropped. This latch has been broke off. This is the machine that the keyboard on it has a broken off keycap, and the cable connector has been shattered, and so you can't plug the keyboard cable into it. And I'm still looking for a replacement and haven't found one yet. Apparently escape and return there is enough to get out a pip, which is fine. And let's run a couple of these and look at some potentially not great games. Ladder, play game, change level instructions. Lad trapped in a maze, explore the dark corridors. Control it by typing the direction buttons and jumping by typing space. Difficulty's level 1. I don't know if this will use the cursor keys here. I'm stuck using the keypad. It wants me to use the number key, or the number pad. Did I die? Yes. Oh. Okay, I see. Once you're going in a direction, I've fallen into this little hole here and I don't seem to be able to get out. So it's a bit of like Donkey Kong. I think we're trapped here forever. Okay, I finally... Oh. Oh, that H has grabbed a hold of me. Oh, all the way up there and then lost. He just continues to run until you press a different direction key. I was able to jump onto the ladder. Oh. Now I'm trapped by the H again. Well, it's a game. A little bit fun. Something I could play for hours, but we've got aliens on here, whatever that is. Probably going to be an interesting way to get a random number. To move the laser base left and right. To halt the laser base is the period. How does that make sense? Oh, it's worse than that. Left. Wow. Type a comma to move the laser base left. Period to halt. X. Oh, it's these three keys right here. Okay, I've got it. I would say this is for a different... I'd say this is meant for a different hardware set. Obviously it doesn't run on here. I'm sure that's not the way it was meant to look. Well, I hate to admit it, ladder was kind of fun. Terminal Kaypro difficulty. So up, down, right, left is on the numeric keypad. One player game. Oh, it's Pac-Man. Except I can't actually get him to move. Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing. I was looking at the power-up. Oh. Okay. I always sucked at Pac-Man. Oh, the uppercase, lowercase c is really cute. And that ghost is right on my backside. Well, hit a wall. Down. Boy, is that slow. Oops. I have to say the ghosts aren't very smart. Of course, I think I've got it in the easiest difficulty. Hopefully this isn't as boring for you as it is for me. Oh, come on. Oh, really? Well, I might as well stick it through and see if I can clear the entire screen. Oh, the ghost followed me through. And nearly killed myself. I lost. Now, I have to say that was not great. Anyhow, I'll wrap this up here. This is 37 minutes of me babbling. We did get a successful boot on the Osborne 2, which is kind of nice. So, with that, I'll end this video here, and we'll chat soon. Bye.